Hello, heroes! Thank you all for tuning in to episode 32 of the Nexus podcast. As usual, I'm your host, Adam Eastwood, and we've got pretty much the band back together this week after having just about half of us last week. We have our lore-loving, time-altering gamer, David Troy.
Happy 4th of July to everybody. I'd like to quote King George III. I was the last to consent to the separation, but the separation having been made and having become inevitable, I have always said, as I say now, that I would be the first to meet the friendship of the United States as an independent power.
All right.
We have our Blizzard and esport enthusiast, Ben Blazik.
Happy 4th of July to everybody. Hope everybody's indulging and enjoying themselves on this fine day.
And last and certainly not least, we have the amazing Josh Williams.
Woo! That's me. Good day to you, Adam, Ben, David. Hope all you guys are enjoying your 4th of July, and for our Canadian friend, your Friday. It's been nice, just relaxing, getting paid to be home today, so that's been pretty awesome.
Yeah, I got paid double time and a half, so I feel like going to work and get double time and a half is better than staying home and getting paid.
Yeah, I'd rather do that too, but...
Although the only reason I feel that way is because I am without child and wife for 2 weeks, so I am bored as can be at my house, which is weird because you think I would enjoy it.
Yeah, dude, you should not be bored by any means at all. Like, you should be, like, living it up, running around the house naked, doing all kinds of stupid stuff.
Like almost falling...
Risky business?
Like almost falling down a flight of stairs into the basement.
That too, why not? We'll throw that on the table.
Nah, you'd be surprised how attached you get to your spawn after they're born. You're so used to them being around. It's weird. I guess they do that on purpose, so that way you don't like throw them off a cliff when they're crying. So
it's part of genetics.
So go ahead. We'll go ahead and talk about our week in gaming. We'll go ahead and start with Ben. We haven't really talked to you in a while, so 2 weeks. It's a long time.
Man, I feel like I have boring stories lately. I haven't really done too much. I'm now actually home in my lair and not traveling. My month-long trip for work is over, so I've been kind of taking it really easy, kind of settling back into everything. So I've been playing Heroes and kind of messing around in just random other games like Arcage, because there's a new Arcage update and stuff like that. But just Heroes and nothing really exciting to report as far as gaming is concerned. But hopefully that'll change here soon, because my schedule for July is going to be a little bit lighter. So we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. David, I know you've been up to some kind of gaming, at least. What have you been up to?
Well, I've continued raiding with my raid team. Salad Senate, Airy Peak, CTR, woo! Who's still working on heroics and doing pretty well. On the other hand, it's pretty much been Hearthstone. I've been part of the excellent Saturday Night Showdowns, casted by Adam and D20, who have done a great job. But now I'm up against a really tough opponent, who I'm not going to mention until the end of the podcast. But so basically, all I've been doing is practicing Hearthstone. I did play around with Zagara a little bit, and she's a lot of fun. And she's like Witch Doctor times 20, so I'm loving it. But I haven't really gotten a chance to use her that much. So I've been in Heroes a little bit, but it's mostly been a lot of Hearthstone.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the specialist heroes have been coming out, her and Murky. They come out and they're a little overpowered, I would say. and I feel like they're going to tune her down a little bit come the next patch.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that. I mean, I've been listening to, I've been trying to listen to the community and other podcasts and stuff like that. And I forget which podcast it was, but it made a good point, which is probably they're putting out a lot of specialist heroes right now, so it doesn't totally mess up the meta when the game is actually launched, which makes a lot of sense because there does seem to be a lot of specialists out there, and they're trying to tweak them, like my least favorite hero, Murky.
Oh, he's awesome. I don't care what you say. Josh, what have you been up to this week?
I've been playing Heroes of the Storm, and then I also got into the beta for Warlords of Draenor. So I've been going through that on Alliance. I hit 92 today, made a Night Elf Hunter, and loving it. And that and Heroes is all I've been playing this past week.
Yeah, the character models are nice. It looks all pretty.
Beautiful. I love them.
You know, I'm really surprised we haven't gotten a cinematic out of Warlords yet, like the opening cinematic.
There is a new cinematic today, though, if you saw it.
Yeah, it's the...
Oh, was that one? Yeah.
Yeah, the after the fight in Mr. Pandaria cinematic. I thought it was kind of funny. Like,
especially when the orc's like, with the hat! I lost it.
yeah. He's like, so, it was a bear.
With a hat!
And the funniest thing about it is, all I could think of is, how can they be surprised that they're fighting a bear? There are furbolgs all over the place that they've had to fight before. So it was kind of weird that that'd be their biggest hang-up. Not, he knew Kung Fu. Like, wouldn't that confuse them more? Although I guess they don't know what Kung Fu is. But anyways, in terms of gaming, I have been playing Heroes of the Nexus, Heroes of the Storm. I kind of just been jumping around my heroes a lot, trying out people who haven't played so much. Zagara I tried a couple times. Even though I am a fan of specialist heroes, I haven't been able to really get a good handle on her. Not quite sure why. I don't know. I expected her to be like the one that I really, really like, seeing as though I love playing Zerg and StarCraft, and she pretty much brings the Zerg along with her. But maybe I just don't know what talents to pick, so I feel like I'm just getting beat down pretty bad. And everyone else is saying she's overpowered, and I'm like, but I keep losing every fight I get into, so I'm probably not doing it right.
The one game I was in, Zagara was a little weak.
Yeah, so I think if you know what you're doing, maybe, and I feel like I should know what I'm doing. Other than that, I've been playing a ton of Diablo as well. Like I said, I'm home alone, so it means I get home from work and I start playing video games ASAP. I get food on the way home, and I'm very excited because with my wizard, I almost have my 4-piece Talrasha, which just means meteors rain from the sky, which
nice.
I can't wait for that to happen. My luck, it'll be like 4 months now before I get that. So we're going to go ahead and kick off the news segment. There's been just a little bit of news this week. One of the, I guess, featured articles over at the Heroes website was that we kind of saw a designing insight from Justin Browder over on there, kind of talking about how they designed the talent system. We've really talked about the talent system a lot through the weeks, and I think we have a pretty good handle on what they did to design it. Anything stick out to you guys from this that maybe we haven't talked about before, or you pretty much just kind of letting the people or this is more like telling the people who maybe aren't listening to podcasts, hey, this is what we have in mind when we're looking at the talent trees?
Well, I thought it was very interesting going into it, especially with the video they did for Moradin. I love that video and telling you what talents to pick and stuff, so I hope I kind of do that with more of the video's characters. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, it's cool. I like when they go into these kind of details. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's stuff we already kind of knew, but I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, I mean, it's really just kind of basic. If you guys kind of want to, I put it in here more just to let people know what's out there. Like, hey, go ahead, read it. It's a good read. It's always good to hear from Dustin Browder.
Well,
if we can ever get him on the show, that'd be the best. But like, hey, we actually have real questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dustin,
that needs to happen.
We're here.
We're here. Waiting. And, we're free on Friday nights at 10 o'clock for any questions. We'll even find some way to send beer. We'll all have some beers together while we record.
I like this idea.
I don't even drink, but I'll pretend I'll have a beer with you.
We'll give you an iced tea and a beer bottle.
Yes.
Okay, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to actually revisit a topic we went over last week a little bit, just because we have David and Ben here, and I have them on the show for a reason. I enjoyed their view on things, and this is one thing that I felt needed to kind of have the overall view from everyone. So we're talking the changes to the catch-up mechanic that just went in effect about 2 weeks ago at this point, where instead of getting a higher trickle of XP as the fight progresses, the team that's behind actually gets more XP for killing the enemy. The higher they are, the more XP they get. David or Ben, who wants to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
Ladies first.
And thank you. Jeez, it was so much nicer when I explained this on Lead Sauce. I didn't get all the.
Because you were a special guest. No.
Yeah, it was nice being a special guest. Now I'm just another face in the crowd. But, you know what? This is something that I think in theory is really good, because I don't like the idea of a trickle mechanic. The idea of just kind of, getting XP for nothing. At least this way you have to earn it. My only concern really is that it's really, once you get about 3 levels ahead, that it's really going to change how everybody plays. And what you're going to get is kind of like, the gravity effect, where everybody just starts clumping in groups of 5. Because when you think about it, once you're 3 levels up, there's really no advantage to laning on either side. What you should do, if you're 3 levels down, group up in a group of 5 and try and pick people off, and then you catch up really quick. And vice versa. If you're ahead, then you want to make sure that you're as protected as possible. So, and that may be what Blizzard's looking for. I mean, how many times have I said on this podcast that maybe what Blizzard's looking for is just to have team fights? But again, it's just all of a sudden, if you're 3 levels up and then everybody just clumps up, and then it's just like basically like 5-on-5 arena. I think that takes a little bit of the strategy out of the way. I think it's better than the trickle. I'm just a little concerned on how it's going to affect, high level play.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben can talk about high level play because he's, very, very good at the game.
I'm trying to think of how I want to.
I'm going to kill you. It was Canada Day this week, so I'm going to kill you with kindness.
Oh God! And if it's one thing I can't stand is kindness. I'm trying to think of how I want to approach this, but basically my entire theory on the whole, so we're going back and forth on the whole whether or not we want to, give extra XP to the team that's not leveling, that's behind in levels and blah blah blah. My standpoint on the whole entire thing is that if a team is capitalizing on everything, they're in the lanes, soaking all the XP. They're getting the efficient kills, and they're doing the objectives like they're supposed to be. If they're getting ahead, they're supposed to be ahead. Period. I get it. We want to try, there's some level of wanting to cater to the casual players and make it a little bit better for them to get, into the genre and stuff like that. You can't punish a good team for doing good things. Period. I don't know why this is coming up in debates as far as why we should be letting the bottom team catch up and this and that and going back and forth on it. In my mind, it's kind of stupid and childish. But if a team knows what they're doing, they need to focus. As far as the whole laning later on in the game, I half agree with David and I half don't. There's still benefits to it. If you haven't pushed in your lane, if you're applying, let's say there's one of you down there and the rest of your team is going across the map and capturing merc camps and putting some pressure on the other team to keep them from 5v1ing you, then you can push the lane in and so on. So I mean, there's a pros and cons to it both ways, but I don't know. It all depends on the matchup, and the great thing about this game is the map. The fact that we have multiple maps with different varying strategies instead of just a standard AOS style map. So,
Ben, if eventually we're going to have ranked play and we're going to have regular play. If they only use this in regular play and they ditch it for ranked, is that okay?
It's going to be a controversy in itself, because at that point, how do I want to explain this? Man, I don't have words tonight. This is a really bad night for me.
Are you trying to
Because
say,
I mean, my thinking is that like ranked is survival of the fittest. Like that's the top players.
Yep.
That's where if you're really gung ho, and then whereas like the equivalent of like casual play or just regular play. Those are the people who just want to jump in, enjoy the game, and maybe So you don't want to discourage those people.
Yep.
And whereas the people who are in ranked, you get what you get, right? I mean, like you gotta survive.
You know
Agreed.
what I would say to that? At first I really agreed with that kind of, yes, have it for casual, but then have it separate for ranked. But you would then have to put like a middle kind of phase in there to gameplay type, I guess, not a phase, where you have like almost a practice ranked mode, because that would make it two different types of games at that point. So you, as a team, that if you want to go into practice and not actually go into ranked mode, you would have to have the same rule set but in a practice mode, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I think they definitely can get rid of like one of the
And-
modes that are in there.
I think our Skype call's screwing up, or at least mine is. Am I lagging?
It was just yours.
Oh,
So,
Oh, I think we may have lost Ben
yeah.
there.
Well, we can keep going.
That's okay. We don't.
Of course,
I win.
You win.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll bring him back. I was gonna actually ask him. I mentioned this last week. So in most games, you have if you're level 5 and you're going up against something that's level 6 or 7, you automatically get more XP than if you're level 7 going to level 7. So doesn't this kind of just match up to any other game you've ever played, Ben? Where if you're beating somebody who's higher level, you're getting more XP anyways? I thought he was back. Or David, what do you think of that?
In regards, well, I mean, look, the idea of a catch-up mechanic makes sense from a business point of view, because you don't want people to come in and it's like, yeah, that was my first experience. Oh, I got all the way up to level 3, but because I was facing a really good team, I ended up getting like raffle stomped, and they were like level 10 when I was level 4.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it does make it makes sense from a business point of view, and like I've reiterated this point in a number of different areas. A lot of the success of this game is going to be bringing people in from Warcraft, bringing people in who are not necessarily like big League of Legends players. So that's why I like the idea of, okay, you're going to have your practice mode, which is like what we call co-op mode right now, right? That's going to be like, where you're fighting against computer and that's it. And then there's going to be just the regular player mode, which would be like, if you're comparing it in raids of World of Warcraft, it's things like LFR, Flex, that kind of thing. And then you have your ranked mode, which is going to be the people who are really serious. I don't see the issue of why we can't separate it out that way. I do not want this catch-up mode in ranked. In ranked, you're ranked. You're the top players. Everyone should be like very, very good at that point. And maybe you have to get to level 40 to even get into that,
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the game is just fun for people. If you want to jump in and have fun and enjoy yourself, that's great. A lot of people have fun raiding in LFR in World of Warcraft or raiding in Flex. They're not the best raiders. No one's saying they are. They're enjoying themselves. They're playing with their friends. Maybe it's 10, maybe it's 25 friends. Why can't we do the same thing from a mobile perspective, where it's like, you grab your 4 buddies, you go in, you do really well in normal, but like you're not quite there for ranked. And then in ranked, those are the players who are really great. And I don't think there should be a catch-up mechanic in that at that level. You're in there, you got to deal with it. Survival of the fittest.
David, I agree with you 100% there. I don't like the catch-up mechanic. I can see it in not the ranked mode, but for when you just want to get in, just have fun and not worry about the rank, I can see it being in there. Like you said, just because you're in there to have fun, you're not caring too much about you rank this and rank that. But when you're in rank mode, definitely get rid of it. Don't put it in rank mode. And for all we know, they could not have it in rank mode since we don't have it yet. But I agree with you 100%. I think that's the way it should be when it comes out.
And Ben, I know your video is a little messed up. Are you able to talk and kind of give your final point on it?
I'm not sure if anybody can even hear me.
I
We
heard
can
you.
hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One, absolutely should not be in ranked too, though. I don't know if it should be in casual or not, because one thing you're going to do at that point, since you're offering two different sides of the spectrum to the game itself, but it's essentially two different gameplay experiences, you're going to turn players away from wanting to play.
What?
Oh man, I hate technical issues.
I'm going to say ranked was what he was going to say.
You're gonna turn people away from the game, I think. And now he's back. Finish your sentence quick.
I quit. I might not want to play with my friends because that mechanic might be in casual mode, so I might only want to play ranked, and who's willing to play ranked with me instead of play casual mode, because I don't want the other team to get a handicap just because we're better.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
that's
that's
just
the
my
same.
opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of same thing. I know it's kind of different games, but same thing as flex rating and normal rating. You know, you have flex rating you can play with your friends just to have fun with, and then you have your real hardcore friends that know how to play the game well, and you can do your normal and hardcore rating too.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's a good point, Josh. I mean, like, the thing is, when talking about ranking, your rank only matters when you play rank mode. Whereas, like, let's say, I mean, let's pretend I'm a really great player, right? Right? And, I'm trying to build up my rank. I'm trying to, like, move through that. But, like, when I jump into casual with, like, some people maybe I just know from WoW, and I don't have to worry about, how my ranking's affected, we can just, like, fool around and, like, play as a 5-man team, and I can get them into the game. That's why I kind of like that, that intermediate level. And then, when I'm playing with you guys and we're actually, like, pushing for ranked, then, then it's more serious. I just don't understand the reason why we couldn't have it different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something we'll see what happens when they finally do come with a ranked mode. I hope they come out with it in the next, I say month or two, because I think they're going to have to do either ranked mode or something, leading up to BlizzCon, considering they did say they're going to have tournaments there, so they need some way of weeding out the people who can make it into the tournament, not in either ranked mode or at least custom, and let people run tournaments to see what's going on with the teams out there. I don't know. They're going to have to do something that we want, at this point. So one thing I did skip over, but I meant to talk about a little bit, is that we also have the international invites that have gone out. So now anybody outside of the United States of America are now starting to get invites. They can pay with their local, coinage. So you can pay with the Canadian dollar now, right, David?
Never.
I thought it was pretty funny because, was it, I was listening to Angry Chicken, and was it Jocelyn from there got into Heroes of the Storm, and she's in Canada. So I was like, oh, David already got in. He's Heroes of the Storm royalty. They let him in from across the border. So I thought that was fun. It made me think of you, David, when you and Zentar actually.
I was listening to it too. I was like, oh, okay, congrats.
Yeah, you're like, should I keep it quiet that I haven't been in it for a while and I live in Canada? You're like, or should I bring it up more?
No, I mean that's cool. I mean, like, I think it's great that they're bringing people from different areas now. It's interesting because they're talking about, they're going to branch it out in Asia. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how that affects the game. I know people in Asia who I'm friends with who are very, like, pumped, and I've bounced it back with Vayflare on Twitter. It's like, so which countries exactly? Because I know some people in Asia who are very pumped. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be really good to kind of internationalize it and start seeing how different even different metas start to form.
Yep, and we were kind of wrong, and I don't know. Remember, we were, or at least I really thought that as soon as we saw the international release, I thought we were going to see like a full account wipe. But it doesn't look like that's the case. The internationals come and they have yet to wipe our accounts.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, the great paradox is I kind of want to get a wipe just to, like, be able to, like, jump in and try everything again. But I mean, I guess what they want to do is, I mean, they want to see how people react, right? Like, when you're at level 40, what happens at, the quote unquote end game? Like, how do people handle it? Do they suddenly stop playing? Do they start just pushing different different heroes to get the tints and just push for gold. I mean, I think I think so much of what they're doing right now is just playing around and seeing how the humans react essentially, as opposed to the game.
Yes. Um, Agreed. The whole video just threw me off. So for sure. Hold on. Just 1 second as I bring him back, and then the video will fix itself. Sorry, guys. Yeah. I mean, it's great. We're gonna see different things happening in the game. The international will look at the game a little bit differently. Just like there's a slight difference in how League of Legends is played in Korea as it is in Europe and America. So you're gonna see a few more viewpoints on how to best play the game, especially once we get into like a competitive scene with ranked and start seeing tournaments come out. And Ben, you're back. How's it going?
Hey, Ben. Welcome back, buddy.
Welcome back.
What's going on?
I missed you.
Okay. And Dave, if you want to kind of give everyone a kind of quick introduction to what our last news topic of the week is. I know you threw it in there. It's the IeSF gender esports controversy.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't related to Heroes of the Storm, but it's certainly an esports issue, and it's certainly something that kind of touches with anything that could be an esport, like Heroes of the Storm. Essentially, what happened was there was a tournament in Finland that got a lot of publicity, but not for the right reasons. Essentially, what they did is they advertised that they would have 4 different sports that they wanted as an esport. And, some of them, there was a men's division and a women's division. And then some of them, they basically said, oh, but these ones, we don't have a women's division, so it's going to be men's only. And, of course, that caused a huge uproar. Their reasoning was that, it's the IeSF, which is kind of like, I guess, the governing body for that area of the world, said that, to promote diversity in gaming and to promote women in gaming, they needed to have different sections, both a men and a women's section. However, because they didn't have a women's section, and this was essentially a feeder tournament that goes up to the championships, that their tournament was men only. So they did eventually, say that, well, we're going to renege and essentially have an open tournament and then a women's only tournament. So, I mean, this caused a huge amount of controversy, especially in the Hearthstone community, and I think in esports in general. And I even saw it leak into people who are not even into esports. They saw this. And I'm just kind of wondering what people's, opinions are in regards to, first of all, kind of the idea of segregating it, essentially, segregating into a men's and a women's, and also what their solution was.
Mm-hmm. Josh, you want to go first with that?
Yeah, because I don't know if you guys saw, I've had a lengthy tweet with Rem back and forth about this. I don't think there should be any division between males and female gamers. I hate calling people like male gamers, guy gamers, girl gamers. To me, we're all just gamers. We don't see the opponent on the other side of the screen, so why should the sex matter? As long as they're an awesome gamer, that's all that should really matter. We should not have divisions between male and female gamers. A thing I do see is people saying, well, there's division between like the NBA and WNBA or whatever. I don't know. I don't like sports. Male and female sports and the Olympics and stuff like that. That's because the human body structure is different. That's different than actually using your mind to play a game. Guys and girls should be able to compete against each other. There should be no separate divisions at all for any game.
So, Josh, their eventual solution was to have an open section and then ladies, women, female, however, that will not get me in trouble section. Do you think that was the right solution?
Well, I didn't. So what did they do? An open one where it's just males?
Yeah, basically, instead of having a men's division and a women's division, it ended up being an anybody's division and a women's division.
I don't think there should be just a women's division either. There should just be one division of gamers against gamers. That's all that should matter is the gamer. If they're good at the game, why should guys go against guys and girls go against girls just because they're the same sex when it becomes to mind thinking of how you play the game? Like, why should two Hearthstone opponents be males or females when it can be male versus female? It shouldn't matter what it is, like if it's a male or a female. So I think it should just be one division of them together.
And Ben, what are your thoughts on it?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Hopefully I can say this without shit screwing up. Oh, sorry.
Uh-oh.
Whoops. I agree that we should allow female gaming as a part of our general core because it's, as you guys said very perfectly, we are gamers. All right, yeah, we want esports to be more professional, and we want it to be viewed as well as regular professional sports, but we're not the same context. We're not out there, on the soccer fields. We're not out there.
Oh no.
No.
I was loving where he was going with this too, and he
Well, let him keep
dropped.
talking because he's dropped the call, but keep talking for the recording.
Okay.
Oh, you're back.
Oh, you're back.
But basically, we have our own environments, and we are unique in our own little, whatever you want to call it, esports environment, and blah, blah, blah. However, I don't think ranting about it on Twitter is going to fix anything, and I feel like if women want to incorporate themselves more in what we're doing, then they need to go out and fight for it. I'm not against it by any means, so I don't want females to think that I'm like casting stones at them to do it the hard way, but they need to, at least take legitimate strides to incorporate more and kind of push us in that general direction and kind of slap this whole comparison down to other world, because it's kind of unnecessary. So.
Yeah.
So
And we have, and us as one last thing, I think us as gamers need to not put that boundary on ourselves either, because we do that. I've been beaten by girls in games before, and they're like, "How's it feel to be beaten by a girl?" It's like, it doesn't matter. You're a girl. If you're just a gamer to me, and guys shouldn't look down on girls for gaming either. They shouldn't, I guess belittle them. Is that would be the right term there? Just because they're a girl playing the game, they shouldn't do any of. We shouldn't put our boundaries in there either with us.
So now this is where I'm like completely on the opposite side than all of you guys.
Whoa.
Which
You don't want any women in gaming?
it's not. No. This has nothing. Okay, maybe not the complete opposite side. So my theory in kind of the competitive scene and a point that they had brought up about like say if they did want to move esports into the Olympics. I have no problem with women in gaming. I want to make that very clear with what I'm going to say. So I have no problem at all with them having separate divisions. Now, that being said, it's not about the caliber of player. It's not about there being a difference between us. But if you look into like an Olympic type scenario, if they were to say bring Hearthstone into the Olympics, at that point they are going to separate male and female. They do it with every sport. You can't have males and females competing because of, like Josh said, body differences. However, because that's how all of that has pretty much gone over in the years of the Olympics, that's kind of set the pace for what to expect when it comes to bringing other sports, and esports I think are including that, into the Olympics or into any kind of a mass market, because that's I think how a lot of people view sports outside of our group. We're all gamers can play against gamers, but when in a competitive scene you're going to see that separation at some point. The thing that I disagree about most in the IeSF controversy is that the female gamers being separated didn't have the same chance at going to the World Championship at Blizzard, which is not a separate event for male and female. Does that make sense? So if say there are 2 seeds going to the World Championships at Blizzard, they needed to say one's for our female division, the other's for our male. They can't say, oh, this one's for the World Championships and this is just our female version, so we have one. They needed to give it equal to go to an event that isn't separated. So that's how I feel. If it depends on the situation, and if Blizzard doesn't want to have it separated in their part, then you either need to not have it separated to go there, or have equal rights to whoever can be in whatever tournament go to which one.
And I'm gonna jump in with this is David Troy's last word. It's like I feel like I'm on like Fox or MSNBC or something like that. We got to start from a simple truth, which is that women can be as good at gaming as men. If we all agree on that, and I think we all do, right? If women can be as good at gaming as men, then there's absolutely no reason for separate brackets. There's nothing stopping anyone in any gender from being the best StarCraft player or being the best Hearthstone player or the best League of Legends player. If there's really, if there's no difference and there's no inherent difference, I mean, I can understand why there's women's wrestling and men's wrestling. It's, there's certain inherent physical issues. But if we're gonna start out and say there's no difference, and people in my raid team are much better mages than me, they're women, they kick my butt all the time in my raid group. If we're gonna accept that simple truth, then we have to take that truth all the way, which means there should be absolutely no separate brackets. And that's what caused this problem in the first place, was someone from up on high saying we need to increase diversity in gaming, so we're going to have separate women's brackets and men's brackets. And then this is the classic unintended consequences, is that perhaps, I don't know, maybe there weren't enough women interested in that particular tournament, and so it ended up being men's only. So my viewpoint, I'm 100% in agreement with Josh in terms of saying there should be absolutely no gender considered for any esports whatsoever. The fact that there are men's sports and women's sports is a flaw in the athletic sports community that, unfortunately, we don't want to bring in as a legacy issue for the esports community.
And I just want to check, is Ben able to talk?
Yo.
Okay.
Yo, Ben.
So, I feel like everything I'm saying is very, touchy, because this is always a touchy subject.
Well, especially considering we're four guys.
I mean, if we had a little more time in advance, I probably would have grabbed a girl gamer into here. I say that just because to let her kind of talk. And my biggest experience with esports is with StarCraft, which is heavily male dominated. Right, Ben, you would agree with that?
Other than Scarlet doing some serious work, yes.
Right. Scarlet is a whole nother topic that I do not want to get into.
Oh, come on. But keep going.
But if you... So, you know the topic with Scarlet, correct, Ben?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So...
What about Hafu in Hearthstone, too? I mean, this is what I'm saying. Just, if you look at StarCraft, this is, it's an established esport. Hearthstone, not that it's not established, but it's still growing. And Hearthstone is a different beast, because it's it's not timed per se, where it's the twitch reflexes and the physiological differences as to why I can't beat some of the Korean players that are out there. In Hearthstone, I don't think they exist. Just talking even male to male, there are certain games that there is a difference based on your physical ability. Hearthstone isn't one of them. Well, no. Is there a physical? I mean, I honestly don't play enough StarCraft to know. Is there a physical difference between the genders in StarCraft?
No, it's all muscle memory, just like any instrument. It's muscle memory.
I would argue that there is, because you don't see StarCraft being out for 4 years now. You do not see females running in the ranks of the other StarCraft pros. Like I said, Scarlet's different because just I'm just gonna say it, Scarlet is a male who is a female now. So that's why it's different. So it's yeah.
Well,
so that's why for me it's
congratulations.
different. I'm not saying it's that's why it's tough. But in StarCraft, I feel there's a difference. So I think it depends on the game that you're playing. And I'm gonna stop talking about it now because I'm just gonna put my foot in my mouth more.
Yeah, you already did that.
Okay,
Because
well,
that's like saying because StarCraft, I play StarCraft a lot. It's all muscle memory in your hands. That's like saying guy guitar players and girl guitar players or drummers cannot be. The guys are going to be better because of the muscles. That's the same muscles you use.
I guess the point is,
The point is,
are we willing to court these kind of controversies to have separate brackets? Really?
I'm just saying at this point I'm gonna stop this conversation here. Actually, I'm gonna stop it. Let's move on. Just because I don't see this going anywhere good for me at all. Because
You heard everyone. Adam is a sexist. No, I'm just joking. He's not. He's awesome.
No, I just
Adam's from Rhode Island. He can't be a sexist.
yeah, we
True,
have too few
true.
people to cut out half of them. No. Anyway, so I'm going to stop it there. We're going to go ahead. We're going to move on and talk some Heroes of the Storm stuff. Get off of this topic because my foot is firmly in my mouth. I need to do some creative editing at this point. No.
We all love you, Adam. We know you don't mean any harm by anything. We love you.
Okay, so we're going to move on to our battle report. I still don't have a proper sounder because I need someone to help me out with those. So we're going to move right into it. Our battle report this week is about Blackheart Bay. So a real quick objective rundown. The whole point of Blackheart Bay, for those who played it, is to collect doubloons from the chests and mercenaries and then hand them over to Captain Blackheart. Then, when you've collected enough of the coins, he will attack your enemy for you, firing from his ghost pirate ship. And as you collect them and he fires on them, it does go up. So it starts at 10, then next time you need 12, then you need 14. Ben, you always have the best battleground tip ever written right there. So what is your biggest battleground tip?
When? I honestly am going to change it this week, and it's going to be fight for the eye.
You're going to say fight for the eye?
Fight for the eye?
Yeah.
See?
What?
Okay, so why do you say fight for the eye?
All right, so a lot of people might not understand this as well. I hope they do. I might botch explaining it, but so from a competitive standpoint, right? Vision is key. Intel, knowledge, everything that goes on the map and knowing exactly what's going on helps you even more. When you capture the eye, okay, number one, if you manage to get a kill early on, you establish dominance. Number two, if you have the eye, you can see both top and middle lane. So you can be a little bit flexible in your positions as far as laning in the top and middle and being prepared for when the chest drops, because you can watch them move around, either circumvent around the eye, between it to try to maybe take it on their way to the chest and so on. You can see and play around with a lot more of what's going on just by having that vision in the top. It allows you to keep more players in the top area to be a little bit more mobile, and you can go back and forth, and it actually assists with ganks. So yeah.
So I'm gonna argue slightly with your point because I have it written down differently for what I think. And just from at least in either a random or depending on the group you might be going against, I think early game going after the eye right away isn't necessarily the best idea. I say this because I have gone into way too many games where the other team is better. Like they're talking, obviously, where your team might not be if you're only playing with 2 or 3 people, and you get slaughtered up there and give up a huge advantage. So I will amend mine and say that fight for the eye if you have a full group. If you don't, spread out and take lanes. I say that primarily because you can get a little bit of an XP advantage while the other team is all up there in the eye, and you can spread out. I find that to be a little more helpful than just going after it automatically. Does that make sense, Ben?
I see exactly what you're saying. My rebuttal to that is, like, I've seen teams that do that. They don't want to fight for the eye. I've been on the receiving end of this and on the giving end of this, and the problem is if the enemy team has all 5 there, and they take the eye, and you spread out to take the lanes as the creeps go in, the enemy team is going to see exactly where you are and what you're doing because the eye covers both of those lanes, and they're going to roll down as a 5 and kill you anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Majority of the time, that's what happens. Sometimes you can get lucky and escape, but if they land a stun, you are dead. That is it.
Mm-hmm. Now, what I would also say with that is later on in the match, once everything kind of chills out, always try to get the eye, because especially later in the game, it's something that you definitely want to have. I agree with Ben. Knowing when they're going to come down and gank if they're up in the top lane, it gives you vision of the top and the bottom or middle, and you get the middle lane and the bottom lane is where the chest spawns. So it's good to have it. I've noticed sometimes though where like if you have 5 people for the other team in the is everybody gone?
No.
Josh is frozen on my screen, but I can see you just fine.
Okay, everyone is kind of come from.
I think Skype's just like crashing tonight.
Yeah. Oh yeah, David's not here.
If everybody's up top for the other team, then you're able to easily get the bottom chest with one person down there. So even if you lose the top 5 or middle 5, you get the bottom 5. So I guess it can work either way, and it's all kind of depends on how the matchup is working out. One other thing, another tip that I have is don't forget about the top lane. Too many times have I seen people worry about the middle lane with the chest and the bottom lane with the chest, that they completely negate the top lane and they just let the other team run wild on it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's something because you get tunnel vision for the chests, So don't get tunnel vision for the chests. Dave, do you have any kind of tips that you like just kind of in general for Blackheart Bay?
Well, last I heard, Ben had suggested going for the eye.
And I gave a boss explanation, so we're good.
Yep. And then I rebutted.
And that's fine. And to be honest, at first I was like, what, are you crazy? But, I mean, I think it depends on your situation. I think if you're a solid 5-man team and you're confident, absolutely go for the eye, because maybe you'll sucker some, pug team into going in there with you. But if you're in a pug team, I would not suggest it at all. I always generally try to go bottom lane because I think there's still a lot of action going on down there, and I think you're also very close to the chest when it pops up. So essentially, if you're queuing on your own, I would say don't go for the eye. If you are together and you're really confident and you're good at team fights, absolutely do it.
So me and you were in agreement, David. That's what matters.
Oh, well, that's that, man. Even though we were not, we were on the same wavelength, even though I was disconnected.
Yes.
Thousands of miles away.
The only problem with pugging is just focus. People don't have priority target focus. They go for the closest unit instead of the smartest. But that's just mainly player knowledge. It's not as much some communication, but you don't have to be on voice comms to really communicate that. It's just people need to understand who they need to go for, and those are the most threatening heroes instead of just someone who's in your face.
I think if you're in a pug and you tell everyone to go for the eye, you're inviting everyone into the wood chipper.
Depending. I mean, it's also micro plays a lot into those kind of fights. You need to be able to micro back and forth efficiently. People who can't do that, they're absolutely just going to get ripped apart. But that's more so individual player skill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just the thing is in a pug, it's probably the individual skill's probably not as high as with an organized group.
Exactly. Josh, any other kind of tips that you might have for Blackheart Bay as overall before we kind of go into individual hero tips?
I would say definitely want to keep an eye on the camps that drop coins and take the camps whenever you can. Just so you can have those and then constantly get the flow of coins. And I forget the spawn timer on those though, so not very helpful on that part. But definitely take them whenever you can, just so you can get those coins.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. So we're going to go right into our individual hero tips. Each of us will have 2 kind of heroes that we talk about. They tend to be probably the same heroes just because they're the ones we know the best. I will be talking about Gazlo to start. Surprise, surprise. So with Gazlo, kind of level wise, it's very similar to a lot of your other ones where when you're able to start taking mercenary camps on your own. The key to Gazlo is that right at level 2, you want to be running after the pirates with the doubloons, kind of the mercenary camps that won't come and fight for you. Level 2 is the best level, so it actually times out pretty well if your team's covering XP wise to at level 2 grab the 2 mercenaries, then grab the opponent's side mercenary pirate on the bottom, and you'll be right there at level 4 to start taking your siege giants. Like I've said before, level 4 is your siege giant level, and then kind of work on your side. So it really is level 2 and level 4 big levels for taking mercenaries. Just like in your other maps, level 16 is when you can take the golem up top on your own. So, right as soon as you turn level 16, take your extra turret talent, so you can have 4 turrets saved up, and drop them all down and attack them. This will, pretty much kind of set the pace for you in the top lane, because now you get the golem every time it's up, and the enemy doesn't have much to fight in that top lane. So you're really taking control of that top lane, where, like I said before, I feel it's like a lane that's like forgotten about. A lot of people just say, oh, it's the top lane, there's no chest up there to worry about, so you can really kind of get a good advantage from there. David, you know a little bit about the Witch Doctor. What are your hints and tricks for him on here?
Well, obviously, Witch Doctor ends up being sort of similar to Gazlo, but the difference, I would say, is that for Witch Doctor, you are the bottom lane. Stick to the bottom lane. You're also very powerful in terms of getting the coins, and essentially your job is to get the bottom 3 sets of mercs. As soon as you get to level 4, like basically up to level 4, you should be laning, lane bottom lane, clear it out, help out with the team fights. As soon as you get to level 4 and you get minion killer, you go for those siege giants. You go for your own siege giants, and probably, unless they've got a Witch Doctor that knows what they're doing, or a Gazlo, you go for their siege giants as well. And then basically, you continue to go back, you support, you help out. Get Gidbin, get everything that will help you in the team fights, because Minion Killer essentially is all you need from there on out. And then as soon as you hit level 10, you go for those bottom mercs. Once you get the bottom mercs, then basically you just keep rotating. Rotate through those 3 sets of mercs. Don't worry about the upper set of mercs unless your team is completely blanked out and is not bothering to get it. But your whole job is to clear out the bottom lane as much as possible.
Just like a bottom lane controller, you're doing the mercs, everything there, so that way everybody else can worry about everything else.
Yeah, basically your job is to get as much. You should always be getting your own siege giants on your side. You should also always be getting the mercs at the very bottom, and you should be trying as best you can without getting killed to get their siege giants as well. If you can do that, you're going to win every time.
Mm-hmm. Josh, what are your thoughts on Sergeant Hammer on this map?
Sergeant Hammer is very nice, for me at least, because you have the ability to be cloaked whenever you are in siege mode. So you can, if all your team is going for the top eye there, you can kind of stay on the outside of it and cloak up and wait for enemies to come in and just start shooting them. And then whenever you hit level 7, you can pick hover siege mode, which you can move when you're in siege mode. It's slower, but you can still move into position and get those strikes in on the enemy team while either they're turning in, you could be shooting the chest to help with that, or defending the chest from a good distance, and you can kind of move where need to be if you need to move over like a few feet or something like that. Very nice with that. She also has, at level 10, you can take the blunt force gun, which shoots a giant missile across the map, so you can use that to stop them turning into blooms if you need to stop them and give your team time to get to them. And it can, once you hit level 20 with it and upgrade it, it circles around the map, so you can keep it on a constant trail to where you can kind of defend it in a sense. Then you can also use your spider mines and hide, like at level 13. The spider mines knock back the enemies at a short distance. It just knocks them back a short distance, and you can drop them kind of by where you turn into balloons and hide in the smokes next to him. Especially so if you're cloaked, anybody runs in there, not going to see you. And that's usually what I do with her on that map. Mm-hmm. I use those abilities to help kind of control turn-ins and help with gathering the chests.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you make a real good point there that maybe we should have brought up earlier, is sometimes the match isn't about collecting them as much as it is stopping your enemy from turning them in and camping the captain to stop the turn, and you can definitely get coins that way as well. I know sometimes during the match you kind of get caught up with what you're doing. It's usually a good idea to make sure you know how many the enemy needs to hand in order to attack you, as well as approximately how many you think they have, and if they have enough, sending 2 or 3 people there to kind of be on hand-in duty isn't a bad idea.
One thing I have seen though, Adam, I've definitely seen this in the last couple games, is what they'll do is they'll lay a trap. Like if you're playing at a very high level, they'll lay a trap, which is essentially they'll get someone who's like a strong, like Lich King or Murden, someone who's like a warrior who can like really handle the damage, and they'll just let them accumulate it. And essentially, so we basically got suckered into a trap where it had like 20, 22 coins. And basically all we did was go after them, and all they did was like nail us down. Like it basically just drew us in, and essentially all of a sudden like Kerrigan's jumping out, everybody's jumping out on us. Like every time we went after him, he was like, kept all his ultimates, like all of his damage mitigation, everything else. So you got to be careful for that too. That is something new in the meta that I've just seen in the last like week or two, where it's very smart. It's a very like intelligent way to do it.
Mm-hmm. And Ben, with Tychus, what are your thoughts on Tychus on this map?
Anybody who plays Tychus on Blackheart Bay should be playing with Reckless Abandonment, and they should be trying to create as much havoc and chaos as possible. Reason being, he can drop turrets insanely fast. So let's just, in theory here for a minute, if your team, whether it's a PUG or it's assembled, pre-made, has a good composition mixture where they don't require your presence in team fights all the time, and they apply enough pressure to keep the top lane empty from the enemy team, you can push in the top lane like before level 4. You can drop turrets so insanely fast as Tychus, it's ridiculous. So you should always, being cautious is a good thing because, it shows the fact that you have awareness and you're willing to, give and take with what's going on in the map. However, there are times where you just kind of need to throw it out the window and you need to dive in and do what you have to do to win. If you push in top lane and your team can focus up to get the golem up top, like that's some pretty strong pressure you can apply. So you not only need to stay in the top lane, but you should be rotating a little bit around the map, and you should always have the eye. It's so easy for Tychus to fight over the eye because you have the grenade, you can knock them towards you or away from the eye, and you can just run in, charge up your Gatling and just charge at them. And then you could also, if you take the talent that slows them down with your Q, then you can trap them essentially as well. So you should really kind of embrace being a little bit more reckless, just in a smart manner. Don't just run at a turret hoping you're going to kill it without backup, but you should definitely kind of throw caution out the window sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And to be honest, I've played Blackhearts with Ben before, and like I'm playing Witch Doctor, and like I've got my Siege Giants up, and like I'm feeling like pretty sexy on bottom lane and throwing my frogs around, and all of a sudden I'm still like one whole fort behind Ben up, who's like blown through top lane as Tychus. So it's like he's absolutely right. Like it's a very powerful hero.
For me, my second hero is Tyrael right now. So I find he's actually really good in top lane as well, as he doesn't have quite the bursty pressure, but he has like that constant pressure that he can push onto a lane if kind of left unchecked. Because he can really, with his smite ability, can really take down the minion waves pretty quickly, and you kind of build him like you do with a lot of the other maps, where you're doing his charge and stun at level 10, so he can kind of move around the map pretty quickly if need be. Some of the changes they've made to him, where the Archangel's Vengeance doesn't reduce your cooldown based on the number of times enemies you hit, kind of stinks because you can't kind of go into combat as you could when attacking people handing them in. You used to be able to just kind of go in and be kind of the meat shield. And now it kind of changes it because you can't just explode on 3 of them and get a quick respawn time. So it's kind of changed for that. But I definitely recommend, because I feel, and Ben, if you disagree, I feel like the solo lane is the top lane. If there is like a solo lane in this map, it tends to be the top lane. Tyrael really does well one-on-one versus assassins, versus almost anybody in the game. I feel confident playing him, even opposed to other heroes too.
Yeah, I would agree with that one, just because, I mean, it makes the most viable sense to leave the top lane as the solo lane, because you need to be able to react quickly to the chests, which are in middle and bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and like I said,
sorry, one thing too I want to say about this map. It's very this is a map that is really advantageous to preset groups, in the sense that there's not really set objectives. It's not like Cursed Hollow, where it's like, here, come and get the tribute, or Dragonshire, where it's like, here, come and grab the shot, grab the objective. This is one that requires a lot of coordination. So this, if you're gonna actually play, it's generally better. It's more advantageous to the groups that play as a 5-man.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. And I think that this was the first map that we played against. I think it was Blood Legion, and that they just smoked us.
Yeah, no, because I was talking to the guys on Leet Sauce, and they it's funny because we were talking about favorite maps, and they were like, I hate Blackhearts, I love Cursed Hollow, and I was like, I hate Cursed Hollow, I love Blackhearts, because we started playing, with the guys from CTR as a 5-man group, and Blackhearts is so much fun when it's coordinated, whereas Cursed Hollow is so much more fun when you're a pug group.
Yep, and it's a lot of fun when you're coordinated and you have a Gazlo on the team, because you're able to just get so much gold from not the chests, So it's like I think I think you have a specific person going and getting that gold. It's helpful, because you're able to take out the mercenaries so quickly. Josh, your last hero was Nova. What are your tips for Nova?
Do damage and don't die. No, I always do with her, I think everyone does this, is the ambush sniped, where it increases her snipe ability when she's cloaked by 20%. And then I also use the decoys to help, basically kind of similar to what I do with Sergeant Hammer. I use her to kind of control the enemy's turn and stuff like that, except I try to collect coins as well with her, since she's a smaller target and all that good stuff. I do use her in that aspect. So I use the decoys a lot, and I also love the sniping. And then I also use precision. Wow, I can't talk. Strike. That way, if I know they're turning in coins, I can use that from anywhere on the board and blast it to kind of stop them.
Mm-hmm. Delay the turn in for the team to get there.
yeah, but unlike Sergeant Hammer, I'm more up close with her, because that's how, to me, she's kind of played. And then I use the decoys a lot too, to help stir people away from actually me, who I can, if I have coins and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Drop the decoy to pull out the trap that David was talking about.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've seen it. It's brutal. It's smart, too. It's very smart.
Okay, David, Stitches. What do you do with Stitches on the map?
Well, with Stitches, you kind of got to be a little bit defensive with Stitches. This is the one map where I really don't agree with going with Putrid Bile as your heroic. I think the Devourer really, to me, it's because there's no real set place. Even when you're going a big team battle for the turn-in, it's still not an exact set area around a tribute or around the Dragon Shrine. This is one where it actually, when everyone's fighting around the cash-in area with Blackheart, this is where you can eat the guy, drag him off to your area. Everyone can retreat. This guy's stuck. You nail him. Now it's 5 on 4, and you can really like hit them. And plus, you can probably maybe like hook someone else into you. So much of this fight is around positioning as opposed to just like going to a point. And this is one where I actually do not recommend Putrid Bile for it, but I do recommend basically like beefing yourself up as much as humanly possible. So this is where like, because you can like start taking the chests and everything like that, and start like really pushing one of the lanes. So basically beef yourself up. I suggest a tank spec, and also not going for Putrid Bile, but going with the one where I think it's not Devour, but basically you pull the guy in and you walk around with him and you drop him off in your turret and he dies.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. We'll get to Ben with his last one, but I did think of with Tychus. I forgot the reason I really like Tychus on Blackheart Bay is even with the normalized attack speed now, he still revs up, and the faster attack speed takes out the chest a lot quicker, right, Ben?
Yes.
Yeah. So I forgot to mention that when you were talking about him. A few times I played Tychus has been on Blackheart Bay, and I'm like, man, he just mows down these chests like it's his job.
Yeah, all you gotta do, if you can throw your grenade and get like the enemy away from the chest and kind of establish that dominance, you just use your E and charge it on top of the chest, and chest is gone in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, sure. And so your last one is Uther. What hints, tricks, heroic ability you use with Uther?
Well, in this case, you should be the boss of the toss with the Swagalicious medic suit because you were the master of Yolomance and Swagholm.
Whoa! What?
Using that to power your might, you should be the most dangerous person on the map, dropping stuns like the Banhammer and keeping your team in the fight with that Holy Paladin power, then jumping in the middle and dropping the Hammer of Righteousness to stun everyone to allow for an early GG.
Oh man, it's like podcasting with Eminem.
Now, if nobody understood what that means, and I have to break this down, basically, with Uther, I take Path of the Wizard and Hammer of the Lightbringer for mana efficiency because it allows me basically to never walk away from a fight. As long as I'm getting hits in on top of somebody, I'm constantly stunning them, keeping them annoyed, and I'm always throwing down Holy Radiance. And then as soon as I take some damage enough, then I'm popping heals on myself. You don't want to let this go to your head though and overextend. So you should always know your capabilities, but just have a battle buddy. Don't take top lane solo by yourself. You should always be either maximizing your efficiency. I personally like to stay in the mid and stay with a ranged character in the mid. As they start to kite them a little bit, I jump in on top of them, stun them, try to intercept them a little bit, get the hits in, and so on. And I try to be just the most annoying person possible on top of Captain Blackheart and just trying to prevent as many turn-ins as possible because as long as I'm getting hits in, I don't ever have to go back for mana.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Very good sustain with Uther, in other words.
I don't know how to match that, Adam.
Yeah, I know. I don't think we can.
I don't think we can. Witch Doctor throw frogs at people.
You've set a dangerous precedence now, Ben. You're gonna have to do that like every episode now.
I don't know if I can. Like that's.
I'm sure I'll be getting emails saying Ben needs to do that more.
Ben's rat. That's cool. That's cool.
Well, I think that about does it for our show tonight. I want to thank you guys for coming. I'm glad to have you all back. If anyone has any other questions concerning Blackheart Bay, certainly send them our way. We'll answer any questions you have at show@heroesofthenexus.com. David, why don't you go ahead and let people know where they can get a hold of you, where they can find you tomorrow night in particular?
Well, if you're live, you can find me tomorrow night at Saturday Night Showdown on Catalyst Gaming Media. I'm up against Robert A. Wing, one of the top bloggers and podcasters for Hearthstone. So we'll see how that goes. On upcoming week, you'll also be able to find me on the Lead Sauce podcast, where I talk Heroes of the Storm and a little bit about my life. So if you want to find more personal information about David Troy, you can listen to that. It's going to be coming up. As well, I am going to be streaming soon, a little bit more in terms of probably a little bit of Hearthstone. And that's pretty much it. You'll also be able to find me on the Salad Senate stream every Wednesday and Thursday night.
And Josh, what about you? Where are people able to get a hold of you?
Be able to get a hold of me, of course, like I say every week here, Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also find me on Twitter at Pacuan_AIE. It's spelled Pacuan. KKUAN, then underscore AIE. And then I'm also maybe working with this World of Warcraft podcast called Last Stand Radio. I think tomorrow we're going to get together and try to do it. But yeah, other than that, that's about it.
Mm-hmm. Ben, you're up. Where can people get a hold of you?
As always, you can get a hold of me on Twitter at Stacks and Packs. That's STAKSNPAKS. Just throw me a message on there if you want to play Heroes or anything like that. Don't really have too much else going on right now just because work is kind of crazy, other than I might try to dabble in development in the Unreal Engine and try to build something. So maybe you'll see me tweeting about that later on as we get some progress. But other than that, I think I'm just going to play some Heroes, try to play competitively, so you'll see me in and out of that scene and stuff like that.
And you can reach me at Geek of Random on Twitter, like always, and the show directly at the Nexus Podcast. Like I said before, send any questions you have about Heroes. So we love having questions. We've only had a couple episodes where we've had them, but I think some of those are the best times we've had answering some questions. So that's show at heroesofthenexus.com. For those of you who download us through iTunes, Stitcher, and Windows Marketplace, please come and join us live. We record every Friday night at 10 o'clock Eastern Time at twitch.tv/heroesofthenexus. And support the show at patreon.com/thenexus. We're proud members of Chaos Gaming Media. You can find a lot of other podcasts and bloggers and YouTube stuff all over there, including our Saturday Night Showdown, which, as a quick rundown, is basically just right now some Hearthstone matches with first person who wins 3 weeks in a row becomes the champion, which is what David's kind of up for.
Me!
Go, David!
That's right.
So if you're interested in kind of being a part of that, playing some Hearthstone, go ahead and email me at geekofrandom@gmail.com, and we'll get you in there. We have some spots open over the next couple of weeks to play in. Thanks again for listening. Everyone have yourselves a great weekend, and we will see you inside the Nexus. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everybody. Happy 4th of July.
Now it's time for me to go edit out these damn fireworks.
Good night, everybody.
Okay,
Done. Stopped.
I can edit the fireworks out.
You're going to do it?
Yeah, I can just highlight them and they get rid of all of the sounds that are similar.
We're having a lot of editing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be
This time line up the tracks. There's been like the past couple episodes where some of the tracks aren't lined up.
Yeah, I saw that too, Adam.
When?
To be honest. Yeah, last episode.
The guest, what's his name?
Film was off?
Might have been.
Yeah,
Finn,
you guys were
it was
kind of
off.
talking over each other. Yeah, I listened to that too.
So it's funny. I feel like any episode that I feel like I have to fix them, that I never can fix them well enough. Like
It's okay.
A lot
we believe in you.
Yeah. Well, no, it's funny. Like with you guys, I can edit. Like I do a slight fix and it's fine. But for some reason, I think you guys are just used to my 3 count. Is what it's come down to.
Yeah, we're cool. We're all in rhythm. We're like Led Zeppelin.
Something like that.
We're kind of like Led Zeppelin. How's everybody in the chat room?
And then the delay until...
That's okay.
No, I know.
Thanks, Josh.
I'm guessing.
I guess I didn't think about the delay not catching up yet.
Hey, Ben's back.
And it's still fuzzy. It's got to be Skype.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we were having a lot of Skype issues last Friday, too, with mine. Mine kept freezing up.
Yep.
It's all them peeps using Skype on the 4th of July.
Ben, it's just you and I were agreeing too much.
No,
So
man, we broke
the
the
whole thing
damn
up.
system.
I know, we broke the whole thing.
Doing jiving. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds...
It's jiving. It's Canadian.
It's Canadian.
Oh, we should have known.
Yeah, it's fine. Well, we had actually, to be honest, I had a super long weekend. I took Monday as a vacation day, so I had a 4-day weekend. So I had Tuesday and Monday off. So.
Last week. I thought you meant like this week.
Yeah, on the proper day, July 1st.
July 1st? What's July 1st?
Dominion Day.
Dominion Day? Is that like... Doesn't that have to do with like video games?
No, Dominion, yeah. It's more like it's a Star Trek holiday we have here in Canada. We support the Dominion against the Federation. It's very,
You
If
guys
you guys are
would.
the Federation, we're the Dominion. So
You guys would.
no, it's Canada Day now. So it's basically like the day you know how you guys fought a war and declared independence on July 4th.
Mhm.
Like we waited 100 years, and just the British were like, "Yeah, just sign this. It's fine. You're a country." So like on July 1st, we signed it. It's like, okay, well that saved a lot of hassle.
They were like, you cannot wait 3 days and celebrate on the same day as the United States of America. You have to
Maybe
have
they
your
Now,
own
in
just-
day.
2014, you would not get a long weekend. Like
Maybe they just didn't want to like slaughter you guys because you would just try to be nice the whole time.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. The weird thing at that point is like there wasn't even an Ontario really when you guys declared independence. Like we were just like nobody. So the only reason there's an Ontario where I live is because we're all like ex-Americans, right? It's people
Something
who
like
left the U.S.
That's so weird.
Traitors.
Well, no, actually, they were actually loyalists. That's how they referred. You guys were the traitors for revolting. The peasants are revolting.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are. Man, that makes me want to watch History of the World now.
Man, have you guys seen that Newcastle Brown Ale commercial? Like all of the Newcastle Brown Ale commercials about like had they won the war.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
didn't
Dude,
know
I
that.
sat there. There's a ton of them. I sat there watching for like an hour one day, and I'm just like, Jesus! Like, what is this?
I need to go find those because I love Newcastle and that sounds funny. We were talking about if before I got the right bet on the podcast. What was I saying? I was saying if we didn't win the war, then Canada would be all part of the same country as us.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, if you hadn't won the war, I mean, probably, to be honest, it probably would have ended up being two different countries, right? Like, I think it would have eventually split up. It just wouldn't have been like these United States of America. The interesting thing is, until the Civil War, the U.S. was always referred to as these United States and not the United States. Because the idea was that like it was just states that were like united loosely, right?
Right. And then the North said, nope, you're following what we say.
Yeah, and no, I mean it's very interesting. Like, sorry, I took like U.S. history as my major, so I kind of know. I know, to be honest, I know more about American history than most Americans,
I would not doubt that.
but not you guys. I'm sure.
I don't know. I just took the regular history classes. And
Yeah,
that's
I was a big like I was fascinated by it because I was like, well, you know, it's kind of important to Canada since like our history is really boring. Like it's a lot of treaties and some healthcare and that's it.
it. Some healthcare that you have to wait months to get stuff done.
Yeah, like we're kind of nice to the Indians and they're kind of nice to us, and then like all of like the big things, we kind of had a civil war, but not really. Like everyone just kind of agreed.
Wait,
It was just like
I didn't even know that you guys kind of had a civil war.
yeah, in 1970, like there were
In
we had like
1970?
yeah, in 1970, like Quebec kind of wanted to separate, but then they had a vote and they didn't, and there was like some bombs in that killed one guy, and then they decided not to separate.
Now that
and
guy's
then-
family has gotten so many. I'm sorry.
They blew up a
Yeah,
maple
basically,
syrup
like, well,
factory.
Quebec's never really said I'm sorry, but we never really said I'm sorry back, and that's what the friction is that no one really apologized.
Oh, no.
That's just the big
No
friction.
one apologized.
Yeah, no
It's
one.
over.
I mean, like, you know, and that's pretty much it. Like, we didn't really, you know, that's it. And we kind of all get along, and we're kind of like basically, yeah. I mean, we just all, except in hockey, and we all hate each other in hockey. That's it. We basically take all of our aggression and put it into hockey.
That's too funny. It makes me laugh.
And Rhode Island, we all hate Rhode Island.
Who doesn't?
You know,
It's the only territory in the world we think we can conquer.
we're not a territory.
It's small enough we may be able to conquer it,
Man,
but we're not ready yet. We're building up arms.
you know, Rhode Island is a very important state.
Keep telling yourself.
Please divulge.
Well, it's the 50th. You guys wouldn't be a round number without Rhode Island.
Wait, what? No, we're not the 50th state. You know, it's like I feel like I don't want to say this out loud because if I'm wrong, I don't want to admit it. So I will wait till next time and I can look up my facts about Rhode Island, and then you'll know what's awesome about it. I mean, we're on Family Guy for for God's sake.
You know, I love you, Adam, but you're getting made fun of by Canada.
You can't make fun of me. Our state is great. Providence, yes, we do have Providence.
I like how he says our state is great. He just stops.
Hold on, let me look up a fact real quick.
Oh wow, he's got to Google this shit.
I need to Google something just to make sure.
Well, I know Josh in Ohio. Where you been again? I apologize.
I'm in Fairfax, Virginia.
Virginia, lovely state. Virginia, I've been to Virginia Beach, man. Again, also one of my favorite places in the U.S.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, Virginia Beach. Virginia is for lovers.
Wait, what?
So it's
Is that like
What?
a thing?
That's
Yeah,
the motto,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, you've never seen it. It's yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, I used to have a T-shirt when I was a kid. Virginia is for lovers.
Ohio's for
Virginia
lovers
Beach
too.
is great. Ohio's for lovers?
I think.
I don't think so, man. I think Ohio's for like one night
Yeah,
stand.
it's Virginia's for lovers.
Yeah, Virginia is for lovers. Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking of a dumb song. There's a song from a stupid band I hate that they have a song about that called "From Hawthorne Heights." That's from Ohio.
Ohio, I'm excited to go to Ohio. Ohio is one of my favorite places, because they got a lot of Bob Evans.
Yes, we do. There's
I
one
love
right
Bob
down
Evans.
the street. Actually,
That's-
I'm like in the middle of two.
That my favorite sausage and gravy, or whatever, biscuits and gravy.
Oh, yes.
I feel like that was
yes.
probably one of the greatest sentences ever because it literally was they have Bob Evans, which has really good biscuits.
So I looked this up. And
Oh,
Oh god.
so the Rhode Island is the first state to declare its independence from England. That's why we're awesome. I was pretty sure that was right, but I had to look up.
First state.
We were the first state to say, screw you, England, basically.
Well, it's because you guys are like smaller than like the Isle of Man, so they wouldn't notice. Hey man, I'm Canadian. This whole 4th of July thing's still a little raw for us.
Actually, our
Little
state is
raw.
full of what we would consider a bunch of anti-Puritan religious people. Like we all hated how the Puritans ran it, so we
Oh
came
yeah,
here.
no, that makes sense. Actually, that does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
By the way, to my American friends, if you haven't seen it, watch the HBO series John Adams. If you
Or
haven't seen it,
If you
oh
haven't
my
seen
god,
it,
greatest,
watch Drunk
greatest.
History.
or watch Family Guy. That's Adam hanging out in.
Drunk History.
Drunk history.
Have you ever seen Drunk History?
Ah.
David's like, why do you have to bring that up?
It's like, watch John Adams. It's a great series. It's like tells everything about the War of Independence. It's so good.
But Drunk History lets you know how we think about history, not how it actually was.
God. This, why do I know more about your history than you guys do?
What do you mean, you
Because
guys?
we
You haven't asked
live
me
it.
anything.
No. Oh,
It's
man.
okay.
Okay, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and bring the stream down. I want to thank everybody again for coming.
Are we playing Little Heroes after?
Sure. I'm down. Okay, cool. Thank you guys again for coming. We will talk to you later.
Bye,
Bye,
chat room. Love you.
Bye guys.